Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures,
the podcast that fuels your passion for obstacle course racing,
running, and all things adventurous.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a weekend warrior,
we've got news updates as well as interviews with athletes
and other key members of our athletic community.
As a weekly show since 2017, we have covered everything from
championship and virtual races
to fundraising events and FKTs. And now, here are your hosts,
Michael Stefano and Katelyn Ritter.
Standing on the corner, lost all my clothes.
Hey guys, it's Michael Stefano.
And Katelyn Ritter.
And Katelyn, how was your weekend kind of thing? It's Friday night, but this will be out early.
I don't even know what time is anymore. Today was pit load day, so my tent is hopefully still standing, and we brought some of the heavier things to us.
It's pretty windy out there today. It's supposed to be windy tonight too, but it's not windy in Airbnb because it's very hot here.
Yeah, the lack of air conditioning is really something else.
I am certainly feeling it. We have to keep the windows closed because it's super loud outside as well. But we met up with the OCR community, OCR Report peoples.
Yeah, we did. That was exciting.
Yeah. You got to meet Fran. You got to meet
Carlo.
And you got to meet
Dustin.
Yeah. And we both met Piper.
And Piper, yeah.
We didn't know Piper. She fit in very well as well. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors.
Shout out Mudgear. Use code ADVENTURE for 15% off your next Mudgear purchase. And Caterpie. Use code OCR Report 20 for 20% off your next Caterpie purchase.
And also,
use code OCR Report 20 for 20% off your next Deca, Tough Mudder, or Spartan events.
Yeah. Let's give a shout out to our $5+ patron supporters.
Jason Dupree, Samantha Thompson, Bradley Keel, Charlotte Engelman, Aaron Grindstaff, Laura and Stephen Ritter, Hank and Arlene Stefano, Cheryl Miller, Jessica Johnson.
Who we saw today, but we didn't get the chance to talk to.
Oh, yeah. Christopher Hoover, Kevin Gregory Jr., Evan Irick, Brent George, Logan Nagel, Asa Connington, Seth Renderkanesh, and Robert Landman.
Thank you guys so much for the support. We greatly appreciate it. And to the OCR Report for being a great home for us on the internet.
And to Will Hicks.
The Podfather. Check it out over at theocrreport.com. We're staying in the OCR Report house right now, which is pretty exciting. And I think this is the first time the gang has been all together for the first time ever.
Yeah, because I've been MIA for a couple years.
It's true. A couple more than a couple. And a brief shout out to our sponsored athletes.
Javier Escobar, Kevin Gregory Jr., Ryan Brizzolara, and Joshua Reed.
And Kelly Sullivan. Poll results. Oh, did you do a poll?
I thought we did do a poll.
Oh, boy.
Yes, I did. I said, have you ever watched the Harry Potter movies? 18% of people said they've watched 0 movies, 5% of people said they've watched only the first movie, and 77% of people said they've seen all of them.
Wow, and 0% said 2 to 7.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, wow. Yeah, more
Where do you fit in that, Mikey?
I've seen all of them, read all the books. Well, I didn't see, all 7 of like the normal ones. I didn't see the Hufflepuff one.
Even though I'm a Hufflepuff?
You are a Hufflepuff, not a Jigglypuff.
That was very funny and unintentional.
Right. We're going to skip Meme of the Week and head right over to quick news, starting with Isaiah Vidal.
Vidal was tagged in a post saying, "We heard your heartbeat loud and clear. We saw you move and wave. Announced your arrival. We don't know how to explain the joy we feel now knowing that we are 3. We've been waiting for you for a long time with so much love." And then it says here to 2025 as we welcome our first child.
Yeah, so he's having a baby. Congratulations to him. Another congratulations goes to Amy Pagic, who posted Mr. Dante Gigante passed his canine good citizens test. Should be called a good boy test. Bona fide good pupper in this big boy collar. So congratulations to him. I don't know what it takes for that, but I love Amy Pagic, so it was fun to mention her again. Next up is an update about Hannibal Race.
Hannibal Race posted, "You guessed it, and you were right. Hannibal Race is back in Lebanon, and this time we will conquer the field at Wada El Jaz. Youth race September 13th, and the adult race is September 14th.
Nice. Now we got to get to some podiums. I'll take these ones so Katelyn can rest up. But Spartan Montana Ultra in 3rd place for the men, Paul Massey. 2nd place for the men, Robert Lipheimer. 1st place for the men, Ethan Pops. For the women, 3rd place, Melissa Linden, who we had dinner with tonight. Second place, Noel Morrow. And first place was Kirby Crawford. And from the Montana Beast, for the men, Mike Yurko. Matthew Quinlan took second, and first was Pete Hoffman. For the women, third, Sylvia Gackle-Smith, Chloe Millikian, and Julie Best. For the Montana Super, for the men, Yorick Soray, Mike Yurko, and Matt Rock. For the women in third, Grayson Rock, Noel Morrow, and Julie Best took first. And then for the Spartan St. Polton Beast, for the men in third, Thomas Gastecker. And second was Philip Sosek. First was Marco Hofstadter. And for the women, third was Daniel Blazer. Second, Nicolette Forrester. And first place, Manuela Hill. And for the St. Polton Super Spartan, third was Peter Vinicki. Second was Ihar Herbenau. And first place was Jacob Kolar. And for the women, third was Lucy Kserna. Second was Klara Logajakova. And first place was Helena Schuster. And I believe that's all the quick news. So you're link, there'll be 5 of those down below. But let's get to what this episode is all about. So what's it all about, Katelyn?
World's Toughest Mudder.
Yeah, so this is the course walkthrough roundtable chat that we did on the car ride back from the venue. It was very frantic today for reasons that we won't go into too much, but just trying to make things good for the live stream. Still working on getting all that together, which, by the way, the live stream, the information is...
It's all on YouTube, but you can find direct links on the OCR Report's Instagram page.
Yeah, I'll actually put links down below in this description as well. I think that would be helpful as well. Then I also want to do community dinner interviews. We weren't sure if we were going to go, and then we were going to go, and I was super hungry. By the time I got the food, everyone was kind of gone, so we didn't do interviews.
That's okay. We enjoyed ourselves.
So it's just this roundtable chat. You'll listen to that, and then when we come back, we'll talk about penalties.
Perfect.
Because I also wasn't in the mood to get yelled at.
Do you want to get yelled at, Mike?
No. All right, so we're going to do a round table, and we're going to talk about some of the obstacles and whatnot. We want to go around saying each other's names and whatnot. Fred?
Hi, I'm Francesca Curando.
I'm Jason Dupree.
I'm Carlo Piscatello.
I'm Piper Hopkins.
And Caitlin's in the back somewhere.
Hi.
She's alive. Perfect. So I figured we could go through the course a little bit and talk about our thoughts since we went out a couple hours early. I have the course map here. Some obstacles I don't recognize, so maybe you guys will know a bit better. Do we know anything about Brexit barrier at all?
Yes.
Which one? Okay.
Brexit barrier was 3 walls, and in between each wall was some netting to crawl under, I believe.
Oh, okay. Do you know around how tall they were? I didn't get to see them on course.
The 2 on the outside were taller than the one in the middle, seemingly. But the 2 on the outside, I'd say 6 to 7 feet, somewhere in there.
Okay. And then there was Twinkle Toes with 3 Z's. We didn't see that, but Twinkle Toes is typically the...
Balance beam.
Balance beam, right?
Balance beam in a Z fashion.
Oh!
Thus the 3 Z's.
Right. Okay.
Did you see these things firsthand? Where were we?
I was given a document that was...
Cool. And then instead of skid marked, it's... Oh, no, yeah. Skid marked. I thought it said skid married, which is just an inverted wall, right?
Yeah, that's standard Tough Mudder
protocol.
Wall. Yeah.
And then we were starting to get a little bit interesting. There's Pyramid Scheme 2.0, so similar to Pyramid Squeeze last year. So, Jason, you had first-hand experience of that one.
Yeah, the definitely a little better than Pyramid Squeeze, as the netting was not as rough. And there's also a strap in about halfway up going across it that was keeping the net from laying completely on top of the boards, but it also forces you to go under it. So even if you're standing up, you still got to kind of bend down to get underneath that part. And then also I'll say that the boards are a little more slippery, and your feet are going to be wet from getting in a little ditch right before it.
Yes. And then speaking of the ditch, Fran, what did you think about that?
Yeah, so, keep your eyes open for that ditch, because I fell into it.
Got a lovely picture of that. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think the strap will primarily, take off some of that. Also, the net was a lot lighter. Did you say that too?
It just wasn't as rough and scratchy.
Well, I feel like it wasn't heavy too. Like when it fell down, it didn't make a noise. Whereas last year it did.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but not insanely. Not like the difference between that net and Lucifer's luggage.
Right. And then there's Firefly, which I think will be the obstacle that most people want to talk about, Carla?
Yeah. It's essentially it's a play off the old walk the plank Tough Mudder obstacle, which is you just go up an elevated platform. And how tall did they tell us it was? Did they say?
I'd say 15 feet.
Yeah, probably at least 15 feet. And then picture like King of Swingers, but without the swing.
Right.
Because you have to jump out and hit a bell, and it's not an easy distance. You might have to get a little bit of a running start. And the cool part, of course, where Firefly comes from is below where your feet are at the end. There's little propane jets, and they're gonna light fire. So you're literally gonna have to leap over fire to get out to the bell, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah. So I was talking to some of the athletes out here that are used to running this course, and they were kind of surprised that they were allowed to do fire out here. So I think that'll be really interesting. I think it's gonna be pretty to go out and see. And I think that I was showing a picture to Josh Fiore of like Jason outstretched too, and he's like, "Oh, it doesn't look that bad," but he was looking at the bell behind it, and I'm like, "Oh no, the bell that's super high up, that's the one he'd have to go to."
Yep.
And then next up was Rat Frost. Does anyone remember that? Because we didn't see that, but
we didn't see it, but I got info on it.
Okay.
So Rat Frost is a tube that you have to crawl through, and then at the end of it is an ice bath.
Okay.
So Francesca, you want to tell them where that comes from? The rat
smash.
If you don't reach the bell, is that a penalty?
Penalty. Yeah. All right, Fran, I can't edit it. What's the thing?
So Rat Frost is a bit of a play on a rat in a sewer pipe and Jack Frost. So you have to go down face first, crawl in like a little rat, and land in a pool of icy water. So it's kind of like a combination of Shawshanked, but face first,
and Arctic
and Arctic M&M.
That makes sense, because I saw what looked like Shawshank and it wasn't on there.
Yeah.
What was that rat game that you talked about as playing as kids?
Yeah, so I thought it was referring to Splat the Rat, and if anybody knows about Splat the Rat, please chime in, because they all thought I was crazy.
Are they forcing, you say it has to be face first? The one thing I will say through that is Shawshank, as someone who with long femurs, can get really, really difficult trying to actually crawl up. Yeah, getting out of it on the other side.
Any tube related.
Yeah, so that'll be tough not being able to have a little bit more flexibility. Yeah, no, I mean, that'll just make it a bit more difficult.
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah. So I don't know where the rat part comes from, except for the fact that you're crawling through a tube. But Rat Frost, Jack Frost, and the ice bath. So yeah, that's the frost part.
Yeah. Very interesting. So a lot of people were finishing the course preview and said that there's going to be no ice obstacles. So maybe the course preview skipped that entirely. A lot of people are like, oh, no ice.
It's just not out there right now, so
how would they don't know?
All right, Carla, what's your experience with ice obstacles? Do you enjoy them?
I do, actually. I don't dislike them. The only time I did not enjoy it was in 2021 at Laughlin. For a short period of time, they had us. Do you remember that? You slid down a little a little slick wall into the thing, and then for a couple laps they had you go backwards.
Yep.
So you had to go under a cargo net into the ice and then climb up. And I think they realized quickly that it was too hard. So that's the only time I haven't enjoyed an iced obstacle. But yeah, I don't mind those at all.
And then we got Kiss of Mud. Piper, what'd you think about that one?
Kiss of Mud was. Oh yeah, no. No, Mud Mile.
Mud Mile.
Yeah, we didn't see Kiss of Mud. Okay.
No, we didn't.
No, but Mud Mile, even as someone who is 5'10", which I don't know what that is in centimeters, I typically don't mind Mud Mile too much because I can get a pretty good reach on it. But these are looking tall. The water seems like it's going to be a bit deep in those pits. I think it could be a really tough one this time.
And it's a really thick, stout clay, so it's not going to break down. So it's not like in the sandier spots where there's going to be ruts. It's going to be that way, and it's going to be slick. It's going to be awesome.
I was also talking to a local too who said that typically they'll have you go down one way, turn around, and come back. Oh. So that could be 2 lanes essentially.
Put a rope down the middle of it and make you.
Yeah. So instead of 5, it would be 10, which would be brutal.
Indeed.
But yeah, so that was my bad. We skipped a little bit because the mud is typically just barbed wire. Chunky Monkey. So that was the first one we saw. Piper, what were your thoughts on that?
Chunky Monkey, I am excited about. Chunky Monkey had a fun little twist on it with the, twister. Yeah, an actual twist there. A really good marriage of the Spartan and Tough Mudder obstacle, so I think that could be a really fun one. Some, I guess, variations and different recommendations on how to go about that. Whether you want to do that backwards or not, going up that uphill twister.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jason, what do you have for strategies for that? Because you were able to complete it, but you were a little shaky at first, which made me nervous.
Well, so the air was very dry in the morning, and that was my concern, because the twister, the metal can just be slick when it's dry. So just watch out for that. Make sure your hands are kind of tacky if you can. Also, if you're going, so I did twister backwards, and that worked for me. I talked to Heather Olson, and she said that she normally just does it forwards, even though it's on a slant going upwards. And they've had it at Europe's Toughest in the past.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was really novel, but turns out they've used it before. But still, it's a good blend of the two, I think. Following that is Netflix and Chill. I'm having trouble thinking of that one right now. I think that's the...
Yeah, that was the one. It's like the little cargo net, right?
Oh, right.
But it's only about like 4 feet high. So yeah, it's a low net. So you got to get under. You can use your hands and your feet, and you got to get up underneath this thing and crawl across. And there's a bell at the end. You have to.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything really in the middle of it or anything that's like that trips you up. It's just low, and you just have to use your feet.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the rare obstacles that its benefit to be shorter. I think. Because you're more compact, whereas when you're tall, you're all stretched out. I feel all lanky and stuff. I struggle with that one. And then motor floating, we saw a little bit of. We don't know the full extent of it, but
is it just a creek crossing?
Yeah,
is what it looked like.
That just seemed like a creek crossing to me.
Oh, so you just go in the water and out the other side?
Yeah.
I thought you go through the water, along the path. No, you just crossed to the.
It seemed like you just crossed, unless I missed something. Yeah.
Not worth talking about that because they drained a lot of the water to use for other obstacles and everything too. Lucifer's luggage. Carla, I saw you getting all up close and personal with that net.
Yeah, that one is basically just like Devil's Beard.
Yes.
Right? But it's on it. Yeah. But it's on a hill, so you have to carry up, and you've got a 25-pound Spartan pancake bag that you have to carry with you. Now, I haven't seen the rules if you have to keep it off the ground. I imagine you don't. I think you just have to just keep it with you and drag it along.
Yeah.
But you have to accompany it with you underneath. And it's pretty far. It's probably a good 50 yards or so, I'd say.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how many.
American units.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that one, I wouldn't want to do that one. That just seems like a pain.
But it's also great that with your crawl, you're not going through sand like you had to last.
Exactly what I was going to say. I think without the sand, I'll take that as a,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Year.
That looked real bad. And, yeah. All of that looked bad. And then there's a pole dancer, which is fairly simple. What's up?
Just say that the net on Lucifer's luggage is different. It's not that heavy, crazy net. So it's a fairly light net, so it doesn't feel too bad on your back, and it's not weighing you down.
Okay, that's good to know. And then thoughts on pole dancer, which is fairly simple.
Pole dancer, kind of like the parallel bars. You just kind of shimmy across. So it takes a little technique, but if you have that technique down, it's pretty easy. Put both hands on the opposing poles and kind of just shimmy across.
Yeah. And then Everest for the Europeans, a little different than what we're used to. What were your thoughts on it, Piper?
Super grippy compared to the American version, so I thought that was interesting. You can make some good distance up the wall without too much of a running start.
Yeah.
So first I'd seen of this version of it.
Yeah, and it's shorter too.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely shorter.
Yeah, because I feel like I could easily not easily, but I could toss someone up something, whereas the other one I feel like they're forever.
I will say the rounded
Height-wise.
grip at the top, trying to reach across, you've got kind of further of a reach to go for once you're at the top if you want to get to the other side.
That's
but
cool.
I don't know. Jason crushed it. So.
Yeah, you zipped up it no problem whatsoever. And then there was Rain Man, which is like a cage crawl, right, Katelyn?
Yeah, that one. I it's funny. We were making jokes because I didn't see anything about the rain part.
Yeah.
So, but evidently there is some tubing there or something where they're going to have water coming down on you. Does that seem right?
I would expect that. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Typically, I would think sprinklers or someone standing with a hose.
Yeah.
But
it was a tube that was strapped in.
Okay.
That I expect the water to be coming out of.
Okay. And it's built up in a box. It's not into the ground as well, right?
It's not dug out like the U.S. version, which doesn't really change much. It's just you just step into the box and get under the net and go.
How high was the water? I didn't notice this.
I didn't actually. Oh, I did see it, but I didn't really pay attention.
It could change as well.
I mean, if it goes all the way.
I don't know. What do you think this is?
Piper's giving a visual representation of
So she's pointing to her bicep. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're ripped.
Somebody else to measure things. I'm not very good at the measurement estimates when it comes to a number. It looked like one that I would not feel like I was drowning going through it.
Good.
So it looked
also
like some
add
space
more
for
water, but as is not terrible.
As of Friday midday, it seemed manageable.
And then Mud Mile we discussed Stairway to Heaven. Why can't I think of that?
Stairway to Heaven in Tough Mudder terms is the Spartan vertical cargo net. So that's what we've seen in the past where you've got Ladder to Hell is Tough Mudder's obstacle. They brought in the Spartan cargo net and called it Stairway to Heaven.
Is this straight vertical?
Yeah, vertical or
A-frame?
A-frame?
Vertical cargo.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And then Swing Both Ways, which we had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, that was, what is it? It's the first part of just the tip.
Yes.
Right? Which is that, like, the block, the rectangular block that's
with
got...
the finger holes.
Yep. And then, so that's a terrible... And although I was told from those who went on it that it's a little more swingy.
Yes.
It's got those kind of, like, I don't know...
Almost seems like bungee on
synthetic
each side,
straps.
that's what it is, yeah.
And so it sways a little more than usual. But the cool thing is, once you get off that, it goes to this cool... How would you describe that board, the wall?
Floating board.
A floating board with like...
Put your feet down.
It's got 3 spots for your feet, 3 spots for your hands. So yeah, it's going to be fun. That's also going to swing though. But and there's 2 of those back to back that you have to like get across.
Right. And then
and
2
I believe
trailer hitches on the first part too.
Correct. Yep.
Oops, sorry.
Nope. Go ahead.
Yeah, the swinging part, just the tip part, is with the trailer hitches. With hands coming out of Mud Mile, it's going to make it extremely hard. Hopefully, I can't remember from the obstacle opening, but hopefully it'll be open longer, earlier than, so at least people have some time before their hands get all muddy.
Yeah. And then there was Mudderhorn, which we're used to in America being like this massive A-frame cargo. Smaller here, right? Substantially smaller?
It seemed like I didn't get a chance to get up to it, but it definitely seems shorter from a distance. Did Justin, you go, or Jason?
Maybe some, but still pretty high.
Yes.
But the biggest thing I know about it is that it's not that rope netting. Instead, it's a strap netting. So strap cargo. So like the flat straps.
Okay.
And it's right now it's very tight. Like same straps, same thing they use on the A-frame in Spartan, like that kind of strapping.
Oh, okay.
But it's very tight right now. It could get very loose later.
Because sometimes it's like rope, right?
Yeah.
It's like rope tied together.
Well, normally Tough Mudder Mudderhorn is rope netting, but this is not. And the netting that's holding you in, keeping you from falling way off of it, is like way far away from you. It's not laying on you like it normally does.
Okay.
Even when you get to the top, it's very open up there. So whereas it's normally like a pain, like squeezing through that, it's actually not too bad.
Okay, that'll be interesting too. And then, did it have the typical, like, are they going to need boosts at the bottom? I didn't really take a good look.
I'd say at the bottom, it's not as steep as the American version, and it's made out of wood, so it's a little easier to just like run up if you can.
Okay.
Because it's not as slick.
I'm seeing traffic heading the other way, and I'm very glad that we're going this way. EST, which is pretty standard, but it was windy. How do you think that'll play out?
No, I mean it's standard EST, right? Like,
well, except for the middle.
What was in the middle?
Big giant, like 4-foot bales of hay. That's the only way to get through it. Like there's no hole through the middle.
Oh. So no crawling through the whole thing.
Okay. Do you hear that back there, Katelyn? Or are you sleeping?
I do. I heard.
That'll be interesting. Do we have any thoughts, because this won't be aired until later today, and we can't talk about penalties until 5 o'clock. This will be out after that. What time is it now? Yeah, way after that. Do we have any knowledge on penalties?
Not a lot.
Okay.
A few.
Okay, what are you doing for it?
This is going out after.
Yes, guaranteed, yeah.
You're going to see some fun cross-brand things going on at Pole Dancer. They're going to... So, for those of you who hate burpees, there's going to be burpees, but it's going to be worse than burpees. It's Zone 10. It's Deca Ram burpees.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
So were they able to get the materials?
They've got the Rams.
Yeah, okay. Did you play any part in that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had. And there's some very fun and silly penalties that are going to be happening at other ones. expect the kind of very frustrating TM classic ones that just annoy the heck out of you.
Okay, so I think like the bouncy ball one.
Carrying, just stuff that's going to take more time than it would do to do the obstacle.
The only one I heard was fill up a teacup with a teaspoon of dirt. Go to a pile, get some dirt off the pile, come back to the cup, dump it in, and go back and forth and do that over and over
until you fill your cup.
Did they decide that croquet in the UK would just be a little too on the nose then?
I don't know.
That'd be good to see, yeah.
That's right. They did have that.
Do we know if we'll
I
get
can't
it
remember
this
if they
year?
had a Europe's Toughest Mudder. Do you remember,
I don't
Francesca?
remember.
No Jack's Door obstacle, even though it was a fantastic idea, friend.
Oh, I'm so sad. Me and Carlo came up with a great obstacle which we called Jack's Door, which would involve pulling yourself across water and balancing, and named after Jack from Titanic. But they didn't take us up on the offer. But maybe next year.
Because there have been obstacles, I think of like Rugged Maniac and stuff like that, where they have it's like a floaty, but it can support your weight for like a second or two.
Yeah.
And like running across that would, like Jack's Doors would have been such a great idea. Absolutely. And then just overall, like, what are our thoughts? Are we overwhelmed, underwhelmed? How are we feeling that this World's Toughest will be thought of in years to come?
I think the team are really excited that it's here, and it's also a really, really good, strong, competent team who work across a lot of these big events and know what they're doing. This is brand new for them, and they're so excited. So I think people are going to remember this event because I think they're going to really pull it out the bag and have that really special vibe.
Jason?
I think that as far as obstacles go, you can expect to see more new and change-ups from even what we saw last year's World's Toughest. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little unique and different, and you've got the big giant jump to jump off of, so all good on that front too.
Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think it'll definitely go down as probably one of the most beautiful venues they've ever had.
Yeah,
like
you mentioned that enough.
And especially I can't wait at nighttime when the castle's all lit up and you can see it from the distance. It's just like there's gonna be so many cool shots I think we can probably get from that. But also I'm excited because we do know, or we have a pretty good sense that they are going to be changing up some of the obstacles a little as the night goes on. So that to me is always exciting to see how they do that. So yeah, I think overall I'm excited, and it's going to be a great event.
Got an oh wow from Katelyn in the back, so she didn't know about the change up.
I think really, really simply for me, it is a stunning venue, and there is a fire obstacle, so it checks all the boxes it needs for me to go down as a good night.
Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji.
Like if I'm gonna park my rear anywhere on the course, it's gonna be watching that firefly. Like I can imagine the amazing pictures Jack's gonna get. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I guess a fun question: how many people do we think are gonna hit 100 miles this year? Right?
Oh, this could be a big year for 100 miles. I think, sorry guys, to talk about the weather. If the weather holds, it's a relatively flat-ish course. I think there could be kind of almost, there could be a lot. If it gets cold and windy overnight, that could really send some people west. But I feel like we could see some record numbers if the weather holds.
Let's pick a number so we can kind of go back on it.
12.
12.
Wow.
Okay.
I would stick with 6, which is kind of roughly what we've seen in the past, right? Like you're saying, it's a very runnable course. The only hills that you really get are that section out in the woods after Mud Mile or somewhere around there after Everest. And there's not a lot of, it's just not a lot of hills past beyond that.
600 feet of elevation gain. Like,
yeah,
it's not much.
that might all be in that one section just about.
Okay. Carla, what are you thinking? How many people?
What do we have so far? 12 and 6?
Yep.
Yeah. We had 9 last year.
Is this Price is Right rules, or what's the...
How come? What just happened right there? I'm ready to go. 7. I'm going with 7. Lucky number 7.
Piper, how many people do you think?
I was going to say 8 until Fran pointed out that we had 9 last year, which makes me think I'm going to go with 11 this year. Another good point that was made is that the sun it's staying bright much later. It is getting bright earlier. So night ops are going to be much shorter, and I think that the extra sun may keep people going.
So I want to add. Yep. So we had 9 last year. We don't have all the athletes here that we had last year, but we also have European athletes that we may not have seen before. Yeah. Chris Rogowski may be here. She's potentially going to be here. If she's here, that's feeding into my number. She's easily got a potential 100 in it. And we might see another woman hit 100 miles. So I who knows?
Do you have any more like inside thoughts inside like news as to like European athletes that are going to be here? Because I only know like Grant Thompson and a few of the others.
Currently, no.
Okay, fair. We will know that shortly. And I'm going to say 10 because I don't think anyone said 10. That still seems like a lot, but I'll go say 10.
It feels like a lot.
It does feel like a lot.
Wild with 12, but I was thinking, 11 I'll win. But
nine is more than I realized we had last year.
That does
so
seem
9 feels like a pretty big number.
Yeah, because
it's going to be 7, so it doesn't matter.
The heat has its own problems too, like people's stomachs going sideways, and that's too many mushy peas. There's all sorts of things that could go wrong here.
Clearly. The other thing I will say, the wind this morning was pretty brutal. So if
True.
the wind picks up overnight, that could cut that number back if people are getting pretty cold.
That's a good point too.
I say it's weather dependent.
Yeah.
It's weather dependent.
She's been right all along. It's weather dependent.
Thank you, ma'am.
Which, as Carla has brought up, every world has been weather dependent, but things could be a little crazier here. Any final thoughts on World Toughest Mudder 2025 as we head into it?
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And Katelyn Ritter's getting 40 miles and a puppy.
Woo!
Double down on that.
That's right. Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you guys for listening, and thank you to everyone that participated in the roundtable chat. Katelyn, what did you have for information about penalties while I find related episodes?
So I have the World's Toughest Mudder 2025 Obstacle, Penalty, and Challenge Rules. So Brexit Barrier is a must complete. Twinkle Toes with 3 Z's has a penalty called Grand National. And Grand National is a WTM favorite where you have to mount a space hopper and hop to the end of the penalty loop. It does not tell you. It just says participants will bounce through 20 plus yard course on the inflatable. So that sounds fun. I'm looking forward to that. Then we go on. Skid Mark is must complete. Pyramid Scheme 2.0 is must complete. Firefly has a penalty called Not a Chance. And it says participants must pick up a piece of rope from the table. Each piece of rope will have a number of knots tied along it. Participant must undo each knot one by one until the piece of rope has no knots on it. Once the knots have all been undone, participants must show the penalty area staff their piece of rope. So that sounds like it could be
And I believe
horrible.
that you'll have to, that's like if you miss the bell and if you don't, I think you'll have to go in the water regardless. I'm not entirely sure.
I think so. Then we move on to Rat Frost. That's a must complete. Kiss of Mud, must complete. Chunky Monkey penalty is high tea. So using only the provided spoon, participants must retrieve soil from the soil pile and transport it into a cup on the table. That sounds terrible. I will definitely be doing that penalty. Block Ness Monster is a must complete. Netflix and Chill has a penalty called Boulder Dash, and it says participants must bear crawl from the start of the penalty loop to the midway point while pushing a medicine ball. Motor Floating is must complete. Lucifer's Luggage is must complete. Pole Dancer where do they come up with these names? Has a penalty. It says upon failure, you must select a ram and proceed to do 15 weighted burpees.
Yeah, ram burpees.
If I was Kevin Gregory, I would go straight to the ram burpees and be like, look at my power. Everest has a penalty, which is Life's a Drag. Participants must pick up 2 of the black rubber mats, allowing one edge of each to still reach the floor. Participants must drag this set of mats while progressing forward through the penalty loop. Participants cannot lift mats entirely off the floor. Participants will drag this set of mats through 100-meter course.
And real quick penalty advice that, like, if you are starting to feel down of like, oh, I got to take the penalty again, just start viewing the penalty as the obstacle itself. Like with an additional like dip in the water. Like Funky Monkey, all right, first I jump in the water, and then I do this, which is the obstacle. So just kind of rephrase it in your mind.
Rain Man is required. Mud Mile required. Stairway to Heaven required. Swings both ways has a penalty called Balls Deep. Says, are you ready for this? Yeah. Participants will search the ball pit until they find an item hidden within it. Participants will present the item to the volunteer for confirmation.
So it's like needle in a haystack, which we discussed with Heather.
Yes. Mutterhorn required. EST if you is not required. If not completed, you go to the freaking lasers. That's what it's called, freaking lasers. Participants must pick up a laser pistol from the table, press the trigger, and hit any section of the corresponding target to activate 5 dots. Once the 5 dots appear, the participants has 50 seconds to aim the laser pistol and hit the center black section 5 times.
Interesting. I need something to do with those laser guns.
Right? And there we go. They have to hit it 5 times.
Very interesting. For related episodes, episode 438 was World's Toughest Mudder First Timer Questions with Josh Fiore, who we saw today. 441 was World's Toughest Mudder in UK Prep with Will Chung and Frank Chiarendo. And the last episode was 442, Katelyn's pre-World's Toughest Mudder Thoughts. So if you'd like to go back to those, you can.
Subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. We are Obstacle Running Adventures on all podcast players. And if you see Mike or I out on course tomorrow, let us know. Say hi.
Yeah. I'm working to get this episode up as early as possible, so that way I can take some more time and work on next week's episode, which will be a lot longer. I know we promised this one to be longer too, but things happened, and we've been, 1, preparing Katelyn for her race tomorrow, and 2, we're trying to work with the team to get the live feed fire out. So
yeah, if you like what you heard, leave us a review on that Purple Podcast app and support us on Patreon for as little as $2 or as many as $10. Coming up next,
okay, so Katelyn's lap by lap experience, race day audio, volunteer interviews, and all things event weekend. Following that will be a brunch episode with interviews and award ceremony audio, and lastly there will be bar crawl interviews. That is the plan. Katelyn, got a joke or a quote to close us out?
I do. My dad sent me this and said, "Just a thought as you begin your journey tomorrow." This is a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along." That was nice of him to send to me.
Yeah. How about's a joke?
Me running World's Toughest Mudder isn't big enough as a joke.
That's a good one.
What does a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common?
Oh, crap. I saw it, but I do know it.
They're both parasites.
Very good. Awesome. Well, that just wraps it up. My name is Michael Stefano.
And my name is Katelyn Ritter.
We'll talk to you next weekend.
Bye. Hopefully.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you're feeling motivated, inspired,
And ready to take on your next race or training run.
If you've enjoyed this week's episode, leave us a review
and share it with your fellow adventurous friends.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Obstacle Running Adventures.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Join us every week for more news,
stories, and interviews from the community.
Our intro song was Streaker by Straight Up.
Our outro music is Iron Paw by The Best.
Just realized you were naked. Yeah.